All right. Welcome to the show. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Hope everyone is doing good on this Thursday morning. It took me just a minute to remember what day it was and where we're at because it's been an absolute whirlwind after the election, and I know that we're all still trying to wrap our minds around it and still trying to come to grips with everything. And so yeah, I've ever since the Tuesday before last, I have been pretty much just running on autopilot, honestly. And I've lost track of when the weekend was. I've lost track of what days it was. But I can't fully blame it on the election. I got to own it. I can't fully blame it on that because I've always been this way. I used to play shows and I would get up on the microphone and be like, welcome back, on this Friday evening. And the bass player would lean in and whisper, it's Thursday or it's Saturday. I mean, that's why, folks, honestly, that I never really gave, even Trump, I never even really gave him the hardest time about his misspeaks and his cognitive moments because I myself have had them for years. And I mean, you could blame it on alcohol, you could blame it on drugs, you could blame it on a whole lot of things, but I've kind of always been that way. So there's been plenty of times that I've, said, great to be back here and named the wrong bar. So it's happened to me before. And that's why I don't pick on too many people that do that. But yeah, I hope everyone is doing good and hanging in there because we're going to need to. And I decided to call when I'm trying to come up with a title. When I'm trying to come up with titles for the lives, I say to myself, okay, like, what can I call this? And I was just thinking after watching Trump pick his cabinets, I was just reminded of the movie Idiocracy, which, believe it or not, I didn't watch until this year. Like, I watched it right after the RNC because everyone kept telling me about it, and everyone kept saying, hey, this is reminding us of the movie Idiocracy. Now, I knew what the movie was. I knew the premise of the movie, and I knew what it was about. I may have seen a couple of scenes from it over the years, but I had never watched it front to back. And so after you had the RNC and you had Hulk Hogan come out, and tear off his shirt and all this ridiculous shit, it made me go, okay, let's see what everyone's talking about. Let's go watch this movie. And I did, and I remember thinking to myself, dang, we're literally in that moment. We're there. And so, that was then, and this is now. Now here we are with Trump appointing his cabinet, and it feels as though we're watching the movie Idiocracy. It's one of the craziest things that I've ever seen. And we do have, for those of you that have seen the movie Idiocracy, for those of you that's not seen it, I'll go ahead and give you the premise of what the movie is about. I think the movie was set in like 2005 is when it's set. And this guy, who's just a guy of average intelligence and a prostitute, gets froze. They decide to be part of an experiment. What they're going to do, they're going to freeze these people right here in time. And they're supposed to bring them back like a year later or 5 years later, something like that, and see how much society has evolved and see how they react when they see how much society has evolved. And then some things go sideways and they end up being lost in that experiment and they're frozen for 500 years. And so they wake up in 2505. And when they wake up in 2505 and come to and walk around, the world is just one big garbage dump. The world is just a huge garbage dump. And everything they say, and you got to remember, they're just people of average intelligence, but everything they say is just coming out like gibberish to the people who are there now, and the people that are there now are just talking in pure gibberish. The president of the United States is a former pro wrestler slash porn star. They don't grow crops anymore. They just live off this weird kind of energy drink. And this was back in 2005 that this movie came out. Had I watched it when it came out, I would have found it a lot more funny. It would have been a lot more entertaining. I would have found it more hilarious. But to watch it to watch it now, it's as though that movie was a prophecy, because that's exactly where it feels like that we're at. And having conversations with people sometimes feels like you're that character who's just trying to ask simple questions like, "What time is it?" And somebody's like, "Oh, get out of here." It's like, I mean, it's if you watch the movie now and you've never seen it, I mean, if you go back and watch it, you're going to realize just how prophetic of a movie it was. And if you watched it right now, you would go, "Wait a minute, are you sure that movie wasn't made today? Was it not made about what?" Yeah, someone. Yeah, right here. This was a funny line from the show. They had a drink called Brondo because they thought water was only to be used in toilets, so they didn't drink water. That's literally a line in the movie. And I do believe that I saw Vol Queen say a minute ago that that it's streamed. Yeah, okay. You can watch it on IBM or Hulu. It's worth watching if you've never seen it because you will say, "Damn, that's where we are. We're living in that." And what really inspired me to go ahead and call today's live that title, "Are We Living in the Movie Idiocracy?" is that I actually read an article on CNN that said that, Marco Rubio, now that he will have a spot in Trump's cabinet, they got to replace him as senator in Florida, and Hulk Hogan's name came up as a possibility. The Hulkster could become the new senator, and they think this is a good idea. And I immediately thought of that movie and thought, crap, like what kind of world are we living in? I'm a wrestling fan, folks. I have been since the 80s. I have been since I was a kid. I don't ever remember not watching wrestling. And I can honestly say it. I have my friends to vouch for me, my mom to vouch for me. I hated Hulk Hogan in the 80s. I was the Roddy Piper fan. I was the little redheaded kid with the hot rod shirt on. I absolutely could not stand Hulk Hogan. But as time went on, I'm going to be honest with you, as time went on and I grew to understand what wrestling was all about and that it was one big show, I did begin to respect his contribution to the business because had he not went on Rocky III and took it into the mainstream, it probably would have just died out in the bingo halls and the high school gyms that it was being done in. So yeah, the guy did contribute to that. But in later years, Hulk Hogan has become a dude, first of all, who, a whole lot of racist things have came out about him. The first time that came out about him, and I'm never going to condone racism, but the first time it came out about him, he was arguing. He was upset over his daughter, who was dating a black man at the time, and he was ranting to a friend while he was going through a divorce. He got caught on tape using the N-word. And a lot of wrestlers, black wrestlers, came to his defense. The wrestler Booker T, the wrestler The Rock, several people came to his defense and said, "We've never seen this side of him. We think he was just angry in the heat of the moment." So that was one that I kind of let roll off of me just a tad. But then, he really became more empowered as time went on, and more things came out. And now I don't feel like you can give him a pass or say that he was just having an angry moment. Now he's said and done a whole lot worse. And not only that, the guy has just absolutely here lately, and you can go on YouTube and look up a video called Hulk Hogan's Lies. He just makes shit up now. Just absolutely makes stuff up that you could easily Google and figure out did not happen. Jim Cornette has a video where he breaks down all the lies that Hulk Hogan has told. And a lot of them are laughable. But it's as though he is injecting himself in stories that he didn't have no part of. He claims he was there the night that the wrestler Bruiser Brody was for real stabbed to death. That was a real murder that happened in Puerto Rico. Hulk Hogan wasn't even in the country. He claims that Elvis used to send him flowers when he wrestled in Memphis, that Elvis used to send him a dozen roses. The only problem with that is Elvis died in August of 1977. Hogan debuted in July of 77, but he didn't start wrestling in Memphis until like the fall of 78. So the wrestler that Elvis sent a dozen roses to was Jerry the King Lawler. Hogan also claims that he got asked to play for the Cincinnati Reds. That was the Macho Man Randy Savage. He also claims that, he was once asked to be the bass player for Metallica and the Rolling Stones. So he's clearly having some issues. This guy's clearly not all there these days. And his name's being flirted around just because he will go out there and say whatever Trump wants him to say and rip his shirt off and flex while he's doing it. And so it's those are the kind of people that that Trump wants to surround himself with. So when you look back on all the videos that we've did and all the discussions we've had here on the channel, when you look back at all of that, you think about how many times that we talked about how that Trump wanted to be in a system with no guardrails. Well, he's wanting to surround himself now with people with no guardrails. And he doesn't care what those people have in their past or who they are or what their qualifications are. He will put them in a position of power, and he will, and he's going to put them there because he knows that they will say yes to whatever it is he wants to do. And they're literally entertaining Hulk Hogan as an idea. Now, a lot of people are saying, don't worry about it. It's not going to happen. But this was a real conversation in my Midas group chat. We were talking back and forth. And I said, did you hear that they're actually entertaining the idea of Hulk Hogan as a senator? And Brett Marcellus came back at me and said, don't worry, it'll probably be Laura Trump. And I laughed out loud because I was like, Brett, that don't make me feel better. And I know he was being sarcastic. He's got a great sense of humor, and I know he was being sarcastic when he said it. But that's where we're at. That's where we're at. We're watching him appoint these lunatics and these criminals and the worst of people, the most least qualified people to the job. And someone says it's the White House apprentice. I mean, yeah, that's where we're headed. And I think that I've thought this for a long time, and now I think it more than ever. I really do believe that reality TV, like the Celebrity Apprentice, but reality TV in general and its format is what led us here. And the reason I say that is because people that don't follow politics like you and I, people that aren't tuned in, people that does not understand how the system worked, they went to work every day, and yes, they struggled to get by. I always want to make sure I say that. Yes, they struggled. Yes, they worked hard to pay their bills. Yes, they busted their ass to pay their bills. Yes, they fell behind on their bills and fell on all sorts of troubled times. I'll give them that all day long. But what was it that they watched all the time for entertainment? They watched reality shows, and they saw that format. And every reality show, whether it's a music reality show like American Idol, or whether it's a pawn shop reality show, or a tattoo reality show, or a cupcake reality show, or it don't matter, or Celebrity Apprentice, whatever the hell it is, everyone have the same exact format in that I'll use, and I ain't watched American Idol in so long, I don't know who the hell the hosts are, but I'll just go back in time to like the first people that I remember. So you've got the lady, I can't remember her name, Paula. You've got Paula who's the nice, she's the good guy in the story. She's nice. She encourages everybody to keep going. She's going to say something nice about everybody. She's going to try to find a way to let people down easy. Then you got Randy. He's the voice of reason. He's going to be more stern, but he's going to be a voice of reason. And then you've got the heel. You've got the bad guy. You got Simon Cowell. You've got the guy that's going to be the over-the-top asshole. And that's literally every show that you watch. The show Pawn Stars, for example. You had Rick, the owner. You know, he's the centerpiece. He's the owner. Then you got his son, who's more reasonable, but his son's got his own things going on. Then you've got Chumley, the comic relief, and then you've got the old man, who's the asshole. And that's every reality show that you see. So they watch that steady diet of that crap. They watch that. They think that's how the world works. And when Donald Trump comes in and says, "Hey, that's how I'm going to run things," they just think, "Yeah, you can do that. You can yell you're fired at somebody," and they think that's okay, and it's not. But I really believe that reality TV did pave the way for Donald Trump in more ways than one. Yeah, he had the show Celebrity Apprentice, but I just believe the premise of the show and the format and people watching that and okay, they're told that's reality. So they watch it and think that is, and it's not. And believe it or not, I actually did read the book by the guy from Pawn Stars, and I'll tell you why I read that. A lot of people are like, "Brando, why would you be reading that?" Well, there was a reason, and I'll tell you about it when I finish this coffee real quick. I made sure I poured it and it was good and hot before we got started. But when my son Emmett was born, I've always I've always read at night to wind down. And when my son Emmett was born, he slept on a little bed right beside our bed because his mom wouldn't let him out of her sight. And so he was right beside our bed. And she wouldn't let me turn a lamp on in order to read. And so I downloaded the Kindle app and I read free books on there. And I read that dude, the Pawn Star guy's book, Rick. I read his book. And he talked about how that when they got the show, that they literally explained to him that format and that they needed that. That they needed him to be in his role. They needed the old man to be the old bitter prick. And they even said to him, you're not as funny, the old man's funny, but we need somebody really funny. And he just happened, and his son recommended Chumley, who worked the night shift at the pawn shop in the drive-thru. He's like, that guy's a pretty comical dude. Maybe we could get him on the show. So these reality shows are just like the WWE. They're scripted. It's scripted reality. It's not real reality. It's not. If you showed people real life, nobody would watch it. If you showed a guy wake up and just go to the factory every day and come home and, sit down and flop down in his couch to watch TV, I mean, there's very few people that would watch that. Although I will say it's pretty entertaining to be in some of these factories in East Tennessee. But yeah, The Apprentice was fake. It all was fake, and you got to remember, Trump's been involved in the WWE for years, and now he's running it like one. It feels like we're watching like back in the Monday Night Wars era when the NWO started, and they just picked one. And it's kind of ironic they were called the New World Order, but they just the random people just joined up with Hulk Hogan to be part of that group, and they just ran over top of everybody. That's kind of what we're seeing. But before we keep rolling here in the show, I do want to welcome everybody here. Thank you guys so much for joining in with me. I get talking sometimes, and I just keep going, and then I remember there's things I do need to plug. And I do need to plug the memberships. I want to thank everyone who has joined up for memberships and thank everyone who has shared them. I'll go ahead and bring some of those up now and thank everybody. We've got Shay as a new member, Marshall and Georgette and Jeanette. They're all new members. Now, let's see. Jeanette, we have Salem, and we also have Jeanette who gifted 5 Tennessee Brando memberships. She does almost every show, and I truly appreciate you so much for doing that. It means a lot to me that you do. So to let you guys know a little bit about how members only work, we do have exclusive content there that you won't find anywhere else. However, everybody that's a member gets my videos early. So what I'm going to do today to give you guys, the ones of you that's become a new member, I'll give you an example of how this works. When this stream ends, which I'll probably end around 1 o'clock Eastern time here, probably go another 40 minutes or so. But whenever this goes off at 1 o'clock, I'll drop the video members only. I've got a video scheduled to come out. I'm going to be talking about Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy heading up the fake Department of Government Efficiency, whatever the hell Trump pulled out of his ass. So I've got a video coming out about that. So if you're a member, you'll see that video for a couple hours before it hits the public. And that's how I usually try to do it. A lot of times I'll set videos to come out the night before and give people plenty of time to watch them before that the public sees them. So again, also thanks to Roosevelt for becoming a new member. Thanks to Christine for the super sticker. I truly do appreciate that. Also, thanks to American. Do you do collabs with other content creators? Yes, I do. I have did collaboration videos with Texas Trey and Texas Paul and Superman Todd and Coach D. I'm also going to be on TJ's. He's supposed to send me the link to it too. I'm going to be on TJ's podcast later today. I'm going to be on his live stream. I think that's at 6:30 Eastern tonight. Let's see if I can get that up there. I'll get that link up there to you guys, and that way you can see it where I'm going to be later. But yes, I do collabs, and thank you for the donation. Also, thanks to Now We Resist. Just want to tell you that you feel like family. Thank you. Well, I appreciate that, and you guys do too. We sit here all the time trying to figure out this crazy world around us, and I've got to recognize your names and faces. And sometimes, you guys will reach out to me on other apps and the profile picture will be a little bit different and maybe the name or the handle may be a little different. So always let me know who you are and where you came from. But I do appreciate that. You guys feel like family to me too. Also, to the Spicy Jester, thank you for this. Wall Street Journal is reporting Trump will inherit a remarkable economy. Before the election, they said it was the worst economy. The U.S. is so gullible. I'm so glad you brought this point across. Really glad you brought this point across because I did predict this, and I'm not trying to flex because I don't want to be flexing about this shit. I really don't. I would rather us be sitting here going into the holidays watching Tim Walz decorate the Christmas tree. But instead, we're here. And I said, you watch and see. These people will say the economy was the best ever before Trump ever takes office. And I said that because they've done it in the past. This isn't the first time they've done this. I've followed politics my whole life and I've watched them do it. And ever since Trump come along, they have been so gullible. They truly have. When Trump was elected in 2016, before he ever took the oath, there was people, America is great again. I also remember it goes back further than that. I remember people saying that the economy was in the shitter and that we were all doomed when Obama was elected. And we saw the mess that Obama inherited. But it wasn't a mess until Obama got elected in their mind. In their mind, once Obama was elected, now we've got a mess because this guy was elected. It's like, what? It's like, so they've been this way this entire time. And I remember when Trump was elected, before he ever took office, they said it was great again. I remember when Biden, won the election, it was, well, of course, they were too busy screaming that one was stolen, but still, everything was back. America was no longer great. And now Trump ain't even back, and they're already saying that it's great again. Because they're gullible and because they grew up watching reality shows and they think that's how it works. And I know there's a lot of people that says we need to work and improve on our messaging. I did a video where I read an article of Ron Filipkowski where he made a lot of great points about how we can get together and start some more grassroots organizing, and I totally agree with that. But when people says about our messaging that we need to tone down the rhetoric or not call out stupidity or not call out racism or not call out people being gullible, I'm sorry, but there's no other way to say it. You have to point it out. You can't let these people get away with these things and not point it out. So, and again, I've never called anyone a racist because they disagreed with me. I get accused of that all the time. Oh, you just said that because I disagree with you. No, I didn't. I did it because you said something racist, and I've owned it before. I've owned it here on the lives. I've owned it in videos. I myself have said racist things. If we all would be honest with ourselves, we'd all admit that at some point we have. But when it was brought to my attention that I was saying it, when it was brought to my attention that it had a racial undertone, or when I was brought to my attention that this was stemmed and grew in racism, I learned from it. I grew from it. I moved forward. That's what reasonable people do. You have to be called out in order to move forward. And because what if all the people had just sat back and said, I let Brando go ahead and keep telling that joke. Let Brando go ahead and keep saying that. Well, Brando would have never learned shit. So I thank the people that called me out. I thank the people that said, hey, you've got that wrong. Hey, that David Allan Coe song ain't funny. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm glad there was people that was there to point the way for me. So yeah, we do need to improve on a lot of things, and maybe I'll circle back to that in a minute. I do want to talk about that Ron article. I'm going to make a note to circle back to that because that was a great point that Ron made. But no, we have to call each other out. That's just part of the growing process. And so, yeah, thank you so much to the Spicy Jester for that. Thank you to Jessica Gold for the donation. She said your channel is awesome, new subscriber. Thank you guys so much. Real quick, let's see where we're at. Folks, we are rapidly closing in on 400,000 subscribers. We did see a little bit of a downtick. We went from like 338 down to 335 on the night of the election. The next day I saw the subscribers dropping off, and I felt my heart drop for a minute thinking, well, I guess everybody's done with politics. But a lot of people ended up coming back and telling me, hey, I'm back. Sorry, I just had a moment. Completely understand. No hard feelings was ever there at all. But we've had a lot of new subscribers who have came in, and they've been enjoying the content. And I've kind of been taking a little bit of a different approach with it. I've not been rolling clips of Donald Trump. When I did the video about him going to the White House to meet with Biden, I didn't show you guys that. You guys know what kind of man Trump is. You don't need to be reminded. It doesn't do us any good to show MAGA what Trump is doing. So I will probably refer to what Trump's doing. I may show certain clips for context. I showed a clip of Eric Swalwell. I read an article from Ron Filipkowski from Midas Touch. I'll continue to do things like that. But the next time Donald Trump goes down on a microphone or shoves one up his ass, I'm not going to show it, because you guys know how he is, and it wouldn't move the needle on the other side at all. So why torture ourselves with his stupidity? Also want to say thanks to Jeanette for this. Your voice is important. Keep up the fight. Thank you so much, and thank you for that donation. Also thanks to Nancy Hayes for the donation. She says, what better way to destroy the admin state than to put the idiots in charge? Yeah, that's what he's doing. He's got a cabinet of clowns, and I'm definitely thinking that's going to be a song title. I've already been kind of brewing that one around in my head. And I did say thanks to Roosevelt for becoming a new member. Thanks to Pamela. Also, thanks to Maxwell for the donation. You got me revved, not fearful. That's good. I'm going to write that down. That would be good on a shirt or something similar. Yeah, we're the Drive-By Truckers got a song called Surrender Under Protest, and there's a line in it that says, compelled but not defeated. And I've thought about that line a lot here lately. We're compelled, but we're not defeated. Also want to say thanks to Lottie for the super sticker. Thank you so much for that. Also thanks to AYR for the super sticker. Thanks to the Theater Doc. And also thanks to Susan, who gifted 5 new Tennessee Brando memberships. Again, I want to remind you guys that when this video's over, anyone who's a member will see my next video before the public does. I'll have it up for a couple hours before it hits the public. So members only definitely gets that. And I also made a grilling video that I'm going to be putting over on Patreon. I actually grilled out yesterday. Me and my son did. I made a video about that. I'll have that over there. I've been talking about doing some more non-political things there. I'm also decided that I'm going to go. I don't have a guest for tomorrow night here on YouTube. And rather than just sit here and go for another hour tomorrow night talking politics and talking Trump's craziness, I figure we'll go over to do Patreon and do another live music show. We'll have a lot of fun with that. And it'll be free. And I'll make sure I've got the settings set right this time to where you guys can get in free right out of the gate. The last time when I uploaded the link, thought I had it correct, thought everything was good, missed something somewhere, and then people will say, wait, it's making me join up to be part of this. So you won't have to. I will have it set to free, and we will have a music show tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern on Patreon. It'll be free to the public, free to the YouTube members, free to everyone to come on. We had a great time last time. I just need some music, folks, and I need to play, and so we'll do that, and we'll continue doing these Tuesdays and Thursday shows live, and hopefully I'll have some guests coming on. I wanted to circle back to this real quick. Thanks to Terry for the donation. I heard 1.5 million Democrats didn't vote. Do you know if they were young people, and how do we get them out in the midterms? This is my first live. Well, welcome. Thank you so much for being here on your first live. I've heard different numbers about Democrats not voting, and I don't understand it. I don't understand how that you could. I do not understand how anyone could feel the need and see the need to vote in 2020. Then watch January 6th. Watch everything Trump has done since. Watch him become a convicted felon. Watch everything that unfolded since. And then be less inspired to vote against him again. That I'll never understand. Do I know if they were young people? I'm not exactly sure. I know that we didn't get the turnout of young people that we thought that we could. And the question also is, how do you think we get them out to the midterms? That's a great question. And it sounds like my answer to you, if you'd asked me that question before the election, my answer would be to just keep educating them, to keep bringing receipts, to keep pointing out everything that's going on, and keep them inspired and keep them motivated. That's really hard to do on the left. It's hard to keep us inspired and motivated because we think in an individual way. We're not a group. We don't do things in groups. And I'm going to circle back to that Ron article in a minute. But we're not necessarily people who do things in groups. It's harder to get it. Sometimes we're like herding cats. We really are. We just have to own that. But now that you've asked that question, I worry about the next 2 years and everything Donald Trump's going to do. So as bad as I hate to say it, I think we have to watch things unfold, and it's going to suck. We have to watch things unfold, and we have to point it out as it unfolds, and point to the midterms and say, people, hey, this is what you voted for, this is what you asked for, so you gotta, or this is what you stayed home, and this is when you set out and didn't vote, this was the consequences. That's what I mean. I hate to put it that way, but we're going to have to let the shit hit the fan and then point to them and say, there is the shit that hit the fan because either A, you stayed home and didn't vote, or B, you voted for this. And I know that's kind of a depressing answer, but I think it's a realistic answer. And I appreciate everyone. Also, want to say thanks to Salem. Torn this holiday season. My parents aren't hardcore MAGA, but voted for Trump. Feels like ignorance more than anything. They've never been vocal about it. My wife and I are finding it hard to forgive. I'm getting so many messages like this. So many messages like this. I feel the same way, although when it comes to my family, we just get together with my mom and dad, who's like-minded, my kids. We just get together. It's just us. There's no extended family that I don't have to, I wish my grandmothers were still around, but we don't go to Mama's anymore. We don't do that because now my mom's the mama and I'm in my mom's position. We've shifted seats over the years, but I'll be honest with you. I couldn't go to, I'll be brutally blunt. And some people say, oh, Brando, why would you be this way over politics? It's not politics, folks. It's not. But I couldn't go to my dad's family dinner. If they had one, I couldn't show up. There are a lot of them that are hardcore Trumpers, and then some that aren't, but voted for him anyway, because they got duped into thinking Democrats are devils. And I couldn't be around that because it ain't about politics. We're not talking about the minimum wage. We're not talking about how much should the rich be taxed. We're not talking about should health care be universal. We're not talking about, all those political arguments we've had in the past. We could have those and disagree all day. This is about our democracy circling the drain. This is about women's rights circling the drain. This is about marginalized groups that are going to be threatened by this presidency, that are going to have to live in constant fear now because of it. It's about the fact, like I said in my song, that they sold us out for the idea they thought we'd get cheaper eggs. They act like it's so nonchalant. I know a guy I would never bust his balls. I'm not the type of person to put someone on blast, but I know a guy who I honestly think a lot of. He's a really, really good-hearted dude. Good-hearted. I see this guy. We shake hands. We always hug. He is one of the friendliest dudes I've ever met in my life. But he voted for Trump because he thinks his policies will be better for all of us, and he doesn't think that he will do all that hateful rhetoric he says. And he's got a gay daughter, and he don't think that Trump will be that hard on her. And I just can't see past it. I'm like, how can you think that? How can you entertain that in your brain? I just don't get it. And it would be very hard for me to sit there and have cousins say, oh, it ain't going to be so bad, Brando. Just give it a chance, man. Give him a chance this time. I can't give someone a chance after I saw what happened on January 6th. And I can't give someone a chance who sexually abused women and defamed them after the fact and became a convicted felon and is in there with no guardrails, surrounding himself with clowns. And coming out and saying that he's going to do away with DEI and he's going to make sure white people gets patted on the back and they get he's saying all this stuff out loud. He's saying everything we said he was going to say out loud. He's doing it. And they still went with it. So yeah, I'm with you. I understand. I understand you and your wife finding it hard to forgive. I don't think I ever will, to be honest. Um, I don't want to get off on a philosophical religious kick here. I don't, but I do want to say how I view the word forgiveness. In order to forgive, you have to be able to forget. And there's certain things I've never been able to forget. I can forgive people for, you know, I can forgive somebody if they back into my car. You know what I mean? I can forgive you for that. You made a mistake. Ain't no problem. I don't even worry about it. I'll fix it myself. I'll pay to fix it myself. Don't worry about it, buddy. I got you. It's okay. You're forgiven. Hey, if somebody gets drunk and cusses me, calls me a son of a bitch, hey, that's fine. I've been called worse. I forgive you for that. It's okay. But you come after my gay friends, you come after my trans friends, you spew racist bullshit. You try to overthrow um, you try to overthrow the government, you try to take away my voice, you try to take away my vote, you try to rig the whole system against me while you're crying that it's rigged. No, I can't forget that. Therefore, I'm never going to be able to forgive it. So to me, forgiveness is it's yeah, there's certain things you can forgive people for. But there's certain things you just can't because you're never going to be able to forget it. And if they continue to do it, then that's something else in and all in of itself. You know what I mean? They like to compare Trump to King David and the Apostle Paul. They say, well, God called them and they were assholes, so God called these bad guys, yeah. But when he called those bad guys, they changed and they weren't bad guys anymore. What happened is if they want to compare Trump to the Apostle Paul, I hate to tell them, but they actually voted for the Saul version. They voted for who he was before he saw the light. And that's the part. They all went to church on Sunday and thanked God for saving them, but they voted for Saul. They didn't vote for Paul. And that's the thing that gets me about these people. I could rant about this for the rest of the day. we could stick right here on this subject for the rest of the day. But as far as forgiveness, I ain't going to be able to forget it. So probably ain't happening. I also want to say thanks to Amy for becoming a new member. This is an interesting comment. And thanks for the donation from Tyler. Could you react to the new Captain America trailer? It looks really good. I'll have to check it out. I've not seen that, but that's yeah. I mean, and I've thought about other content I can be doing to take our mind off politics from time to time. Maybe we will do movie reviews or react to trailers. That would be interesting. And also want to say thanks for this donation. Is that Lil Strama? Some love from Sweden. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate all of you. Also, man, we got a lot of new members today. Want to shout out Sophie, Christy, Eileen, and Tim. I want to say thanks to him. Also, let's see. Thanks to Basilia for this. Always remember, as I heard and believe, courage is not the absence of fear, it's taking action in face of it. It's a great quote, and thank you so much. Thank you so much for that donation. Also, thanks to Dances with Gerbils. Agree about the clips. We know who Trump is. I understand that. And also, thanks to AKA Furry for becoming a new member. And thanks to JD Mack for the super sticker. And let's see. Thanks for this donation as well. Linkin Park's new song feels very relevant. Turn to Run. Now look what it's become. Outnumbered 10-1. Back then we should have bit our tongue because there's no turning back once it's begun. I've not heard that tune yet, but I'll be sure to check it out. And again, thank you so much for that donation. So now I'm going to come back over here to the live chat. While I was doing that, I was away from the live chat for a minute. So if we've had any trolls, ignore them. And I know we've got the Vol Queen here helping out to bounce. I always call the moderators the bouncers because I grew up playing music in dive bars. So back then we had bouncers, and now we have moderators. But I really do appreciate you guys so much. Let me see here real quick. I wanted to be able to pull up TJ's YouTube link. I'll tell you what, I'm going to be on TJ's podcast later today. I'm going to be on his live stream later today. And I am going to share this link over to the Vol Queen so she can post it, because the moderators are who can. If she's still here, she'll post it. And let's see. If not, I'll tell you where you can. I'll tell you what the name of the channel, and you can search it. But the name of the channel is the Left Wing Pod. It's at the Left Wing Pod. I'm also going to send it to another moderator here, and we'll get that up and going for you. So there we go. I'll be on the Left Wing Pod later today, 6:35 Eastern. I don't know why we're going 6:35. It's like the old TBS back in the day, wrestling at 6:05. But I'm not sure exactly if he means we're going to go. Let's see. Maybe I already have it scheduled. Nope. But it'll be 6:30 Eastern time. So just tune in on the Left Wing Pod. And thank you, Summer, for bringing that up. Really appreciate it. There's the link. I know you can't click on it from here, but there it is for those of you that are seeing it in the comment section. Yeah. And thanks, Vol Queen. Thank you so much for putting that up there. Click on the link that the Vol Queen and Summer just shared. I know you can't click on my screen here, but that's the link to look for in the comment section. And yeah, I really appreciate it. So someone says, sorry, when's the Patreon Music Live, Brando? Can we do some Shinedown songs? Love from Middle Tennessee. You look like a long-lost uncle to me as a trans Christian Tennessean. Thank you. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Tomorrow night at 9, I will be going live on Patreon. We can share the link there to the Patreon in the comments as well. I'll be playing music. I don't really know any Shinedown songs. Never had anything against them. They're a great band. I've never that guy's vocals has never really been in my wheelhouse, and so got a hell of a voice, but I've never really. I know like what I'm capable of and what I'm not, and some of his songs I don't know if I could pull them off, but I'll try to come as close as I can, and who knows, I may stumble across one and go, yeah, I could sing that one. I've definitely done Simple Man, which they redid. I don't know if he still is with her or if this was ever true, but I did hear that the lead singer was with Ronnie Van Zant's daughter, which I thought was interesting. And they did do a good cover of Simple Man. Now, the drummer that used to play in the band with me, he had a higher voice than me. And when we would do Simple Man, I would let him take it, and he would do more of a Shinedown version and hit the higher notes that that guy hit. But no disrespect to Shinedown. I'm just always going to be partial to the original. And I'm my favorite version of Simple Man was the live version that Ronnie Van Zant did. I don't know if it made it onto the. I don't think it made it onto the One More from the Road album. I don't think it did. I think it came out after the plane crash on one of the collections. It was from the One More from the Road concert, though. It was from the Fox Theater. My favorite version, for some reason, is that one, Ronnie Van Zant at the Fox Theater. Yeah, we'll do some music tomorrow night on Patreon, and I'm going to finish off this coffee before it gets too cold. That's how Stone Cold Steve Austin came up with his name. If you need some useless information, the wrestler Steve Austin was trying to come up with a new gimmick, and he was wanting to come up with like this. He had this idea for just be this cold-blooded dude, you know. So the WWE started pitching him these ridiculous names. They wanted to call him the Ice Dagger. That would have been terrible. They wanted to call him Chili McFreeze. I'm not making this up. And he had this list of names in front of him. They were all terrible. And he was eating breakfast. He was drinking coffee. And he said, these names, and they wanted to call him the Ice Man and all this ridiculous shit. And he was like, these names are terrible. I don't want to be none of these things. And his wife said, well, hurry up and finish that coffee before it turns stone cold. And he said, okay, I'm Stone Cold Steve Austin. And I hear that Stone Cold is more progressive, and that's good to know. Considering that he played the biggest redneck ever, it's pretty good to know. I saw him come out in favor of gay marriage and saying that people, consenting adults, should be allowed to do whatever they want to do. He seems to be a lot more like-minded. So, yeah, I'm going to finish this off before it becomes Stone Cold. Actually, it already is, but I need the caffeine. So, yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. Let's see where I was. Yeah, also, I wanted to talk about this Ron Filipkowski article that was on MidasNews.com. Ron Filipkowski is the, real quick, I'll pin this for a minute. That's the link. If you see this in the comment, that's the link to the Patreon show tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern. But Ron wrote a really good article. And Ron's a former Republican who isn't anymore because of Donald Trump. He's the editor-in-chief over at Midas Touch, and I really, really enjoy his takes. And this take here made me stop in my tracks. Some of you may have already saw the video I put out about it last night. So I'll just paraphrase. I won't go back and pull the article up and read it to you again. But basically what Ron was saying is where the Republicans really beat us was the way that they went out there and they got on the ground, and he pointed out that every week there's an event somewhere in this country with right-wing speakers talking. You got Charlie Kirk, Turning Point USA. At these events, you have live music, you have social media influencers, you have podcasters, you have journalists, you have politicians, you have a headliner who's a senator or a congressman that are all in the right wing. And yeah, we look over at them, we play the clips, and we go, they're stupid. They're a bunch of idiots. They're a bunch of racists. They're a bunch of misogynists. They're a bunch of conspiracy theorists. And yes, there's a whole bunch of speakers at these events that are. But they're out there drilling that in people's head every week. They're there out there doing it somewhere on a microphone doing it. They take questions from the audiences. They engage with their audience. And yes, folks, it's all bullshit. I'll hand it to you all day long because I know someone's going, but Brando, they're terrible people. Yeah, they are, but they're terrible people who have got together and came up with ways to organize. And so we don't have that kind of stuff on the left, and the politicians at the top, the DNC, they don't reach out to social media influencers. Look at the platforms that people like us have built. Look at Midas Touch that's like the third most watched YouTube channel. You may see Eric Swalwell, Jamie Raskin, Jasmine Crockett. You'll see a few people go to Midas Touch, but not enough. And you didn't see Kamala Harris there, did you? I'm not throwing any shade at Kamala, but I'm just saying you didn't see her there, did you? You didn't see Hillary Clinton. You never see Barack Obama. You never see them have an event where they invite Midas Touch to speak at it. Look at all the average people like me that sat down in a trailer in East Tennessee and built a platform from my lawn chair, talking about these ideas. They don't ever turn the microphone over to people like us. And I'm not sitting here saying that just because, oh yeah, please, I want to speak at these events. What I said in my video was, hey, you don't have to invite me. I don't ever have to say a word. But if we would have more events like this, I'll share them. I'll push them. I'll push them to the moon. I'll roll the clips. We've got to organize and we got to get on the ground and we got to get out there and meet people. Think about all the people in the comment section that's here every day. You're here every day talking with Brando. Would you come out and see Brando somewhere? Would you come out and shake Brando's hand? How many of you have messaged me and said, I'd love to shake your hand? Well, now imagine if we had an event where you had me, you had Coach D, and then you had someone like a Jasmine Crockett. And yeah, I'm gonna reach for the moon. Yeah, eventually you have Obama or someone come out and speak. That's what they had this entire time. They were on the ground doing that shit this entire time, and Trump entertained it. And yes, I know all of the faults that they have. But they organized, and they were out there creating a narrative. They were creating a straw man, and they were tearing us down. And something that I didn't say in my video that I want to point out here. Back years ago when I played in a band and played in the dive bars, we were the house band at the biggest bar in the smallest town. We were the biggest fish in the littlest pond. Okay, we were. People in small towns loves to talk. Who is it? Miranda Lambert has that song, Everybody Dies Famous in a Small Town. If you're in a small town, people spread rumors about you. People spread bullshit. So people used to spread all kinds of rumors about me and my band. A lot of them weren't rumors. A lot of them was true, and I owned it. I always owned up to it. Yeah, I did that, and did it in front of a room full of people, so I can't deny it. But there was a lot of bullshit that was spread. Just a lot, and it was funny to me. It was hilarious. I would laugh at it. I would just let it roll off me. I would just laugh at it. They used to, they would accuse me of everything. I was the house band at a bar for a while, and was really good friends with the owner. Of course, they accused me and him of being lovers, you know. And he and I both would just laugh about that. They also accused him of being my father. Said that the only reason I played at his bar was because I was his illegitimate son. We would have a laugh about that, and I never would address it because I thought those people are stupid. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. That never happened. That's not how it is, and I just let them talk. But if you sit back and let people talk long enough and don't speak up and say, hey, wait a minute, that's some bullshit. That ain't true. And let me bring the receipts and let me bring the evidence and let me show you that that ain't true. If you don't do that, then people will start to go, well, you know, maybe Marshall really is Brando's daddy. Maybe he don't never say nothing about it. He don't ever say nothing about it. We always see them together. I mean, maybe he is. Because Brando's never told us one way or the other. He just gets up there and laughs at us. So we've allowed the Charlie Kirks of the world to go out there and create this straw man image of the left, create something that's not real at all about us, and tell his voters that that's who we are. Tell young people that that's what we're about. And meanwhile, we come in right at the last couple of weeks of an election, and we pull up a politician that's been around forever that they've already been told. They've already been preconditioned to think that Kamala Harris is the worst human being in the world. She wasn't. She was a great choice. She would have made a fabulous president. We would have moved forward with her. I'm not knocking Kamala in no way. But she comes in with a couple of months left of the election, and now, hi, I'm Kamala Harris. Hi, this is Tim Walz. We're here to work for you. But for the last 8 years, we've had Charlie Kirk telling young kids they're the devil. They're evil. They're the worst. They don't care about you. And they only show up at the last minute to say, we care about you. So that's where we do have to improve. And I think we could if we would organize events like that and live streams like that. That's something else they've got going. They've got live streams going all the time. Well, people like us have busted our ass. People like Brian Tyler Cohen has busted his ass. David Packman, Luke Beasley, Adam Mockler, the Midas Touch Network, all the contributors. So many people have busted their ass, built up these huge platforms. If a random dude in East Tennessee is closing in right now as we speak, is closing in on 400,000 subscribers. If that random dude in East Tennessee can get 400,000 people to listen to what he's saying and go, yeah, I feel that, then the DNC needs to start tapping into that. The DNC needs to start tapping into those people. Instead of bringing out computerized politicians, not saying Kamala was this, I'm not throwing this at Kamala Harris, but you can't bring out a replica of what they've been saying we are at the last minute and expect that to resonate with enough people. You got to get in there and you got to resonate with the people in this audience right here. That's who you guys are talking. You guys are how many comments have I pulled up? How many comments have I pulled up from people who are like, I'm concerned? That's who the DNC needs to be listening to. That's who should have had the microphone at the DNC. They had Hulk Hogan come out and rip off his shirt. I ain't saying we do that. I ain't saying we resort to their bullshit. I'm saying we come out there and we say, this is our vision. This is what we're about. And yeah, we still continue to call it out. We still continue to call out all their bullshit. We still continue to bring all the evidence out there to them. But we also realize that our side is stronger because we don't always agree. So going forward, we're going to have tough conversations. And when we do, we're not always going to agree with it. But what we need to understand is that we have a safe space where we can come and talk about these ideas. We can exchange these ideas. And just because we disagree on something doesn't mean you stay home on election day. Because when you stay home on election day, this is what happens. This is the boat we end up in. So if we have a discussion and say we were out at an event somewhere and say that suddenly you have, I don't know, just I'm just randomly throwing this out there. Say you had me and Coach D on a stage together. We're talking back and forth, and let's say me and Coach D disagrees on something, and he and I sits there and we go back and forth. And some of you gets pissed at Brando, and some of you gets pissed at Coach D. Well, don't use that as an excuse to not vote. Don't stay home because you saw two people disagree. Hear both people out, understand where both people were coming from, and understand that both people had the greater good in mind. Both people still had the same common goal to stand up for everybody. We're not always going to agree. It's okay to disagree. That's what our side's about. We're not in a cult. We're not cultish. We don't worship one leader or one hero. That's not who we are. But if we could come together, have conversations, have the tough conversations, and understand, we're not always going to see eye to eye here. We're going to disagree. But when you disagree, don't get mad and go home. And don't throw a fit and don't say I'm not going to vote, because that accomplishes nothing. What that does is gets us in the boat that we're sitting in now. So we can do this, but we just have to keep putting in the work, and we have to keep getting better at it. So I looked away from the comment section there for just a minute because I was making my point and I didn't want to get distracted. It's not necessarily easy to sit here and talk about these things and then remember what I'm supposed to say while I'm reading comments at the same time. So shout out to the Vol Queen and shout out to Summer for helping put those links in there to help me out along the way. I really do appreciate that. But how many of you would come out to an event like that? If the Midas Touch Network were to ever have an event like that, or if content creators had an event like that where they could put it on, how many of you would show up? How many of you would show up, and how many of you would have questions, and how many of you would be willing to engage, and how many of you would be willing to go, hey, I disagree with Brando on this, or I disagree with Texas Paul on that, but okay, we're still in this together. Because I've said it so many times, this is going to be something I'm going to say till you probably get tired of hearing me say it. Come January 20th and after that, we're not going to have a president that's going to be for us. And we can't count on the DNC either. We can't count on the establishment. What we have to do, though, is we have to let our voices be heard to the point that they can no longer ignore it. And maybe one day they would get behind it. But I'm seeing a lot of people saying, I would go. I would be about that. I would do that. I would be for that. I appreciate you guys for saying that. And we will definitely just keep putting in all of the work. And I know, like I said, there's like those events that they have, they do feature a lot of hateful people. And they're wrong about a whole lot of shit. But we can't sit back and wait till right before the midterms to go, oh, by the way, here we are. Hey, we had some ideas to run by you real quick. But we've had 2 years of these people, screaming in your ear. You have to get on the ground, and you have to come out early. And we'll wrap it up here, folks. I want to let you guys know a few things, though, before I go. First of all, I want to thank you guys so much for being here. It's always good to be here and be here with you and talking about the issues at hand and moving the conversation forward. So I want to let you know that those of you that became, let me real quick see if I can pick up where I left off on the members. I want to say thanks to Tank from Kentucky for the donation. Hey, from Kentucky. I grew up in Middlesboro. Do you take requests to write a song? Just depends. I'm always looking for inspiration, so you never can tell where I may pull it from. Also, thanks to Mariana for that super sticker. Thanks to Pat for this one. Thanks to Leslie. As Dems, we need to resist. We will. Thank you for becoming a member for 10 months. Also, thanks to Rosa for this super sticker. Thanks to Natalie for the donation. Today, I argued with a friend over trans rights. She changed her mind after I said happy child or dead child. Do we have to be this dark with people? Yeah, sometimes you do. Sometimes you have to get that blunt. There's times that I can almost see my parents flinch when I make a point to someone else, I've almost seen them kind of sink in their chair like, "Ugh, Brando, you kind of went for the jugular on that one." You kind of, sometimes you have to bring it home. Sometimes you have to bring it home, and so yeah, sometimes you do have to be that way with people. If you saying that change their mind, good for you. We have to do what we have to do. Also, thanks to Clive, Solidarity from the UK. Thank you so much for that. Thank you to Shayla. Great news is that Trump is annoyed with Elon. And, Brian Tyler Cohen said it best. The only silver lining in this cloud is now that they've all got what they wanted, they're going to have to work together and make it happen. And they've got such big egos and such fragile egos that they may just sit back and self-destruct. So, yeah, he'll get annoyed with Elon because he wants to be the star of the show, and so does Elon. Their egos are going to clash really hard. And the video that I have coming out after this live ends that members only will see first is talking about Elon and Vivek becoming part of his imaginary Department of Government Efficiency. The reason why I didn't dive too much into that here in this video is because that's the video I'm going to release right after this live goes off. And if you're a member, you'll see it first before the public sees it. So also thanks to Christine watching from Canada. Blue Groups, yes. Thank you so much for that. Let's see. Thanks for the donation, by the way. It says, am I too late? I sent you a few comparison soccer and politics videos, and I was wondering if you read them. Folks, I want to be honest with you. I have been so swamped with emails since the election. I've been trying to go through and read them all. The Cheaper Egg song got over 2 million views. It's probably closing in on 3 when you think about all the platforms it was on. And I have got emails that are out of my control at this point. I'm trying to get through them. I'm trying to read them all. If I don't get to you, if I don't respond, it didn't mean I didn't care. It didn't mean that I didn't. Every day I'm trying to take a little bit of time out of the day to read some emails. But every time I read 10, 20 more lands on top of me. And so I'm trying to get to them all. If I haven't, I apologize, but I do thank you for that. And also thanks to Ballard for the super sticker. Thanks to Eric for the super sticker. And thanks to Kimmy K. Also, thank you to... thank you for that. Hello from New Jersey. And thanks to Laura for that one. Truly do appreciate all of you. Also, don't forget tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, I'll be live on Patreon playing music. And so the link will be free this time. I'll make sure I've got that situated to where everyone can just jump in and watch for free. So we're doing good. But we're bringing in a lot of people over on Patreon. And I really do appreciate your all support and all the members and all the super stickers. That goes a long way to help me continue to do what I do. A lot of people on the right tries to accuse people like us of, you're funded by Soros. I wish. Well, let me tell you something. If that dude funded me, I wouldn't be sitting here in East Tennessee. Man, we would be in a completely different part of the world. Me and my whole family would be kicked back on an island somewhere if that was the case. But I appreciate you guys so much for what you do to support what I do. And over on Patreon, I've been doing some more non-political style content just to give people a breather to get away from it. And from time to time, I post a free video to let people kind of get a feel for what we're doing over there. And so if you feel like coming over there, great. We have a fun time over there, and I thank you guys for all your support there. I thank you for your support here on Members Only on YouTube and all over social media where you guys help me out. Also, I didn't remind you guys of this, but we're picking up some steam over on the Blue Sky app. That's a new app. I'm over there under Tennessee Brando. If you just type out Tennessee Brando, or go to @tnbrando.bsky.social. That's me. I've only got one. Now, I'm sure there'll probably be a bunch of fake ones, but thank you, Vol Queen. You're all over it today. I appreciate it. Sorry, I'm clipping on the wrong comment. Sorry about that. There we go. Thank you, Vol Queen, for that. I appreciate it so much. And thank you for your help. I know that it ain't easy being a moderator, and I truly do appreciate you so much. But yeah, we're over on Blue Sky. A lot of people are leaving Twitter and mass exodus to protest. And someone said I'm on Blue Sky and I like it. I do too. I like it so far. It's a good place to be. So yeah, if you want to go over there and give me a follow over there, I'll be there as well. And let's see, what have I missed? I saw it go by a second ago. Also, yeah, this is the link. Thank you, Summer, for putting that in there. That's the link to the Patreon. If you see that in the comment section, I'll go ahead probably and create that link today and get it started. That way you guys can share. And so, yeah, thank you guys so much. Again, Blue Sky is a new app that was created, and a lot of people are going over to it. A lot of blue voices are going over to it in protest of Twitter. And so, yeah, thank you guys again. I really appreciate all of you for being here. No, I won't say it's like Facebook. I mean, it has a vibe of the original Twitter to me. It kind of has more of a vibe of that. It's not the dumpster fire that Facebook has become. Also, real quick before I go, I want to say, yeah, I have been trying like hell to get rid of all the trolls on all the platforms and make this a place where we can all come and express ideas without being bullied or harassed. If anybody out there on the platforms gets that, the best thing you can do is mention me in a comment like where it happened. You can screenshot and send me the person's name, but you got to understand, every time I open my phone, I've got hundreds of notifications on a platform like Facebook. I only see the couple that comes up at the top. It's impossible to scroll through all those and find out where something happened. So if you could remember what video it happened on or what post it happened on, and if you could just put Tennessee Brando, and bring it to my attention, because I'm going to see where people, I can go to, I've got an option to go see where people mention me. So if I go to the mentions, I can click and it'll take me right to where the troll was, and we can get people out of there. And yeah, someone said Facebook will not clamp down on scams. I feel you on that. There are so many fake Tennessee Brando profiles out there that's absolutely ridiculous. That are reaching out to people every day, and people saying, "Is that you?" And I'm like, "No, it's not me." And I've reported them. I've had you guys report them. It does no good. That really sucks. But there's something else I saw that I wanted to address real quick. We just get, someone said take it back in 2028. Yeah, we will. We have to. We just got to keep moving. But yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. And so before we go, I banned somebody just now. I did it. I banned an asshole. So yeah. Hope everyone is doing well, and I know we're in uncertain times, we're in uncertain territory, but we'll get through it. So once again, real quick before we go, if you haven't been over to Blue Sky, it's a new app. Go check it out. I'm over there at Tennessee Brando. Shout out to the moderators. Thank you guys so much for helping. And actually, real quick before I go, I actually did bounce someone out of a bar one time when the bouncer was nowhere to be found, and someone was fixing to get attacked, and no one was around to do it. And I was like, "All right, buddy, you got to go." And everybody, it all got misinterpreted that I was the one in the fight, that I had gotten in a fight with somebody, but I hadn't. Pretty funny story. The bouncer was coming, who'd you get in a fight? I didn't get in a fight. I was doing your job because you weren't there. So, my buddy's story is my favorite one to tell. I would let him tell his version of the story, because his version of the story makes me sound like a badass. He said, "Yeah, man, I was just sitting there on a bar stool just on break waiting for the music to start back, and I looked and just seen this dude go flying by, and the next thing I seen was Brando coming to kick him in the face." But I didn't actually kick him in the face. They stopped me before I did, but I was going for it. So yeah, just bounced a troll, and I've played bouncer before. But anyway, not to get sidetracked, join me up on Blue Sky. Join me up on Blue Sky if you want to hit me up over there. It's a cool app to be on. Don't forget, tomorrow night, Patreon. I'll probably go ahead and create the link today and get it out there for you guys so that it's sitting there and you know where to go and click on it. Because the last time I did it, I dropped it live as it happened, and I feel like that created a lot of confusion. So, because people's like, "Where's that? I'm not seeing it yet." So I'll go ahead, I'll get it up there. It'll be there. Patreon tomorrow night at 9 p.m. And after this video is over, I'll tell you what I'm going to do while I'm sitting here. I'm going to go ahead and make that video that I was telling you about. It's called Trump Appoints a Clown Cabinet. That's the video. So we're going to, I'm going to go ahead and set that to members only. And you will see it first. All you that got gifted memberships and all you that became members today, you're going to see this video now. So it'll be up for you guys first, and it'll sit there for a while, and then it will go to the public. So we're doing that now. Should be ready to go. And also, I forgot to mention this, but keep your eye out. We are going to have some new merch at the merch store. We've had a lot of requests for some new ideas, and so we will have some new merch in the merch store. Keep your eyes open for that. And if you're wondering where the merch store is, go to my YouTube channel, and when you're on my page, just go over to where it says store and click on the word store, and you're there. So yeah, I think I covered it all. Join me on Blue Sky if you want to. Tomorrow night, Patreon. The YouTube members only video is out now. You guys can check that out. It'll be there for a while. Already had someone like it. Already had someone comment. That's awesome. Someone commented, let's go. So yeah, let's go. Let's keep putting in the work. Let's keep moving forward. Tomorrow night on Patreon. Last time I went 6 hours. I don't know where I don't know that I could pull it off again tomorrow, especially if we start at 9. I probably won't do it. I won't go 6 hours because I got to do my daughter's birthday on Saturday, and I don't want to show up there a mess. But we will take requests for cover tunes, and we'll play tunes that I wrote. We'll have a good time tomorrow night at Patreon, 9 p.m. Eastern. Until next time, I'm Tennessee Brando. I love you guys. I thank y'all. Just keep tuning in, and I'll keep telling you the truth. Thank you so much.